All
Oh, we are
right, good
live.
morning. We are live. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where or when you're watching this Facebook Live. This is the voice on the face of Dr. Tolu Olabinton, CEO, founder, Living Spring Family Medical Center here in the good city of Mansfield, Texas, where we believe in helping our patients live long and well because we believe the quality of life is just as important as the quantity of life. I'm very excited to have on today the one and the only Dr. Katrice Brooks. Yay, thank you for
Hey,
coming.
hey.
And Dr.
Thank
Katrice
you for
Brooks,
having me.
oh, my pleasure. We will be talking about how to eat to beat disease. And we'll be talking with the awesome Dr. Katrice Brooks, who is a family physician and also a lifestyle medicine specialist as well. So without further ado, oh, by the way, if you're watching this live, hashtag live, if you're watching this on replay, hashtag replay so I can shout you out later. Okay. So without further ado, Dr. Brooks, kindly introduce yourself. Who are you and what do you do?
Thank you so much for having me, Dr. Tolu. I'm so excited to be here and to share with your audience. So, I'm Dr. Katrice Brooks. I am the founder of Quench Fitness and Spa. It is a direct primary care in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, serving the Milwaukee land and also the Illinois Chicagoland area. I am a board certified family and lifestyle medicine doctor. I have over 10 years of experience as an attending, and I got frustrated with kind of corporate medicine, and I left to create my own practice. And also, about 4 years ago, I actually also kind of got frustrated with being a pill pusher, and I got certified in lifestyle medicine. So I have a passion for helping people get off their medicine. In my clinic, what I value is the relationship with the patient. So we spend time with patients, I listen to them, assess their needs, and get them the care that they deserve.
Awesome. I like how you said that you transitioned. You got tired of also being a pill pusher. I know that's something we're trained to do as physicians to prescribe
Yeah.
medications, but there's a balance to that. And you pursued a better certification so you can better serve your patients. I love that. Now, you already touched on it a little bit, but what was the breaking point for you as far as the transition to lifestyle medicine? Like, was there a story behind that? What happened?
Oh,
Right.
yeah, I'm trying to think if there was one particular story. It was, about 2, 3 years of family medicine. I realized, I prescribe a lot of medicine. So I prescribe a lot of medicine and I bring patients back to monitor the medicines. So it was
Right.
the cycle of that, right? Like I gave you something, now I gotta check your liver and your kidney
Never.
enzymes to make sure that it's working. And I also had a lot of patients very frustrated that they were on medicines. They didn't even
Hmm.
want to come see me because they felt like they were just gonna get more meds. And so I knew as a physician, when we read the literature, that the first line treatment for a lot of things was lifestyle. Like, for example, for diabetes, the first line treatment is lifestyle medicine.
Medicine.
It's to give a trial of,
Okay.
exercise, having the patient lose weight, eat more fruits and vegetables. And we know the study for that actually showed it was stronger. But I was just, I felt lots and lots of medicine. And personally, I don't love medicine. Medicine is a tool that we all need. Not we
Right.
all need, but medicine is a tool as physicians we need. That, as a because we work with so many patients, and
Right.
um
Right.
we want to use the right tool for the right patient. I'm trying to decide if there was a breaking point. No, initially it was kind of just a CME. Like, it was like, I think there's something more out here
Mm, mm,
for my patients, and I wanted to be healthier, and I wanted my patients to be healthier. So initially I just took a plant nutrition CME,
mhm.
and after I took the CME and I heard all the lectures about really how powerful lifestyle medicine is, how powerful eating and diet is for multiple diseases, not just the ones like diabetes. I was like, oh, maybe I'll do more of that. And so then after that I decided to get trained in lifestyle medicine.
Awesome.
But
And
I do have
go ahead. No, go
you go.
ahead. No, no, you go ahead. You go ahead. You
Okay,
do have.
great. I do have successes after I got trained, or even before then. Like, so we think of sometimes of lifestyle medicine as this separate thing, but it's something that
Incorporated.
we do throughout everything, right? With
Mm,
every
mm,
patient, there is kind of a lifestyle component, or even most diseases, there is also the lifestyle component. So there was things that I was doing in my practice already that was very congruent and in line with lifestyle medicine. When people come in and they want to lose weight, or again, they just don't want to be on their medications for diabetes or high blood pressure. The tools that we're using are lifestyle medicine. And I have been doing that before. It was
Right.
just nice to get some formalized training to say, okay, those things that you thought were right, they're right. Do more of them. Here's a little bit more of how to coach people to actually do this stuff. But the
Oh, that's cool.
knowledge of what I was doing, as physicians, we have it, and we probably tell it to our patients already, but it's the, actively doing it and doing the coaching to actually implement it.
I agree with you. And that's a good segue to our next question because sometimes it's the how, the delivery, right? But, here's a hiccup I tend to see a lot with my patients. And I think with just being a human being, food is a very important part of life. It's what makes it,
Yeah.
it is what it contributes to making life interesting and enjoyable. So we live in Texas. I call this the butter city, no offense, like, oh, the butter state, like the flavors of the food compared to other franchises, let's say in different states, is different. It's richer. It's oilier. It's more butterer. Okay. So how do you sell your patients on eating healthy, even with this fact that, like, look, this is how when we hang out, this is how we eat. Like, what are
Yeah.
you doing, doc? How do you sell this to your patients?
This is a super good question. So I live in Wisconsin, which is the cheese state, right? So same thing. When I talk about eliminating animal products, and I'm like, that includes cheese and butter, no one wants to hear that. So the selling is a big question. So one, we have to start with the why. Why do we want a lifestyle change at all, right? So what is it that we're trying to change and why we're trying to change it? So usually when I have a patient in front of me, they have somehow come to a health crisis of some sort, right? Their blood pressure is uncontrolled, their diabetes is uncontrolled, or they want to get off all their medicines. They found that they're on some pills and they don't like taking pills. They didn't imagine they would be adults taking pills. So one is a clear why and having a reason. And then the next prong of that is knowing why you want to eat healthier. Two, realizing why delicious food is so delicious. Because the truth is, plants are probably not going to be as delicious as the delicious food that we have engineered. So understanding why it's so delicious may help us step back from it. So the reason why food is so delicious, why butter and rich foods are so delicious, is that it hijacks the natural evolution of our brain. Our brain was made to go out in the world and to pick up a berry occasionally, and that be sweet and delicious, and maybe occasionally get some fat if, as hunter gatherers, we killed a big beast and we were
Yeah,
able to
right,
feast for that month on that one animal.
right.
But mostly it's, the foliage that humans eat. So our brains love salt, sugar, and fat because they generally were not things that were plentiful in our environment. But as humans, with modern technology, in the same way that we've learned how to put a man on the moon, we've engineered food that is hyper palatable and very, very delicious. And so we eat it, and it gives us everything. It releases dopamine, and it tastes so good. And as you say, we celebrate with food. We are social around food. We have a birthday party and there's a cake. We have Thanksgiving and there's a turkey. There's also sweet potato pie. There are delicious foods that are associated with each of our celebrations. We have 4th of July barbecues, and over the summer there are barbecues. So these foods are hyper palatable and very delicious, but they're not what we were designed by evolution or God to eat all the time, 24/7. So one, we need to understand, why do we want to be healthier? Why is this food not good for us, and why we are so addicted to it? And then the more that you eat good food, the more that you eat fruits and vegetables, your taste buds actually start to change so that you find that food more delicious. But part of it also starts with not eating hyper palatable, delicious foods as well, or eating less of them. So I sell it as a transition. I usually don't sell it as an all or none thing, because most
Right.
people will not just stop kind of the life that they have. You have your routine. You wake up, you eat your breakfast,
Right.
you drive to the restaurant for lunch, you go home, you have the things that you do. So I usually don't sell it as a complete overhaul of what you've been doing,
Right.
but an
Right.
addition to getting more fruits and vegetables in your diet. But you're right,
Awesome.
mhm.
Awesome. I wanted to highlight something you said, and
Yeah,
this is not a conspiracy theory. It's fact. You can Google it. Food engineering is a thing. There's a whole industry. The goal in the restaurant is not to have you eat well; it's to have you eat in a way that will get you addicted, so you can come back for more. They trigger the certain foods that
absolutely.
trigger something in your brain that it says, "I don't hear what your stomach is saying. This is good. You keep going,"
Absolutely.
and that could be dangerous when
Absolutely.
there's no boundaries. So please, please, we're talking about quality of life here, living long and well, enjoying those things that are important to you. You got to get more plants in your life, more plants in
Exactly.
your life. All
So
right,
there's
next.
I want
Go
to
ahead.
no
Go ahead.
pause. There you are absolutely right. There's something called a bliss point. You guys can Google it. It's a bliss point, and it's where the food industry, puts just enough sugar in products to make your brain eat more than you intended to eat. And that's why there's sugar literally in everything. If you look at the back of your ketchup, there's sugar in it. There's sugar everywhere. And it's to trick your brain, and it is not a conspiracy theory. It's a industry fact where we eat more than we intend. We sit down to eat something and our brain says more, eat it all. And we do, because the food industry wants to sell food. That is their product. So the more that they sell, the more profits they make. That's it. They're not nefarious. They just want to make money. But they want to sell as many units of whatever it is. And sugar, salt, and fat, but sugar in particular, helps the brain override the natural satiation cues. So yeah, more plants. And plants help. The other side of it, our body was designed to eat plants. We were designed to have enough fiber. The fiber and the weight of the plants, the sheer mass of it, is part of the mechanism of our stomach that says, hey, you've had enough food, right? If our stomach gets stretched because we eat enough bulk, we have enough fiber go through our system where our brain says you're satiated. But if you're eating hyper palatable processed food that's designed, we don't meet those things. So you eat a little bit of oil, even though that's 500 calories, our brain doesn't say you ate enough. It says give me more. That wasn't, you gave me this
Good.
little bit of food.
That is big, and we're having this discussion. So you have what we call an informed. You make an informed decision, meaning
Yes,
you know what you're about to eat, and you're making the conscious decision. So now you're aware that there are certain things that are in place to keep you going. I always like to give this example. I love Texas Roadhouse. I'm not gonna lie. I go there maybe once a year or whatever, and they give you the rolls, right? It's a roll.
they are
It's
good.
yeah, the rolls, and there's a little cinnamon butter, like you open it, and there's the mist that goes off, and then you put the cinnamon butter, and it melts. And you're thinking, if you've not been there before, I'm gonna just eat the bread, and then I'm gonna go because it's free, right? But what ends up happening
Mm,
is you eat the bread, you order a lot of food, and then you take to go. All right. So there's a strategy to it. Now you're arguing. Well, Olive Garden has, and hopefully I don't get in trouble with Olive Garden. I'm just saying they're good food. Just know, um, they give you salad, right? But they give you the salad with lots of dressing. So the salad
yes.
itself is not bad, but the dressing is loaded with sugar and the oil. So you
Yeah,
think you're eating healthy, and salads are good, and don't. But salad dressings are one of the worst things you can actually eat, the regular ones. So I just want us to really have a full disclosure on what we're eating. It's not saying that feel bad about eating. It's like let's change how we think about eating for our good. All right. My next
exactly.
question to you is this, Doc. Um, Now someone's watching, like, okay, all of us here who are watching, all of us have diabetes, all of us have high blood pressure, some have rheumatoid arthritis, some have this or that. What foods can you say in generality? I think we touched on it already. What foods help beat disease? Like how you knock it, like, yeah. Mhm.
Yes. So I look at it this way, and this is my own personal belief, but again, some of it's evolution. This is all science too. Let me backtrack. Another thing that I really enjoyed about lifestyle medicine and why I needed to change is because it's evidence based. So it wasn't just kind of foo foo. Um, let's do this. It's like, let's study and see really what works, what helps people really reverse heart disease, what really helps people improve the inflammation from rheumatoid and autoimmune conditions. So the foods that we know really help disease and help reverse disease are plants. And surprise, surprise, it is what God or nature or evolution designed for humans and other creatures to eat. So things that grow out of the ground this is what I tell people. Things that grow out of the ground are what we were made to eat. Our bodies, over hundreds of thousands of years, have been engineered to eat. So all sorts of plants. It's not this or that. The whole plethora of whole foods that grow out of the ground. So eating foods in the way they grow out of the ground. Now that can be, if you want to blanch them or boil them, that's okay. But the way they grow out of the ground means they don't go into a factory and we somehow strip everything from them. So, and we'll get to that a little later, but foods as they grow out of the ground. So eating raw fruits and vegetables, that is wonderful if you can tolerate it. Some people with certain GI conditions can't tolerate raw fruits and vegetables, but the mass majority of people can. Nuts and seeds, wonderful. Whole grains are wonderful. When I say plants, that includes fruits and vegetables, root vegetables, anything that grows out of the ground that you can get basically in the produce department generally is good for you. Now there is fear of anti-nutrients in foods. So some foods, because foods are like they're not creatures, but they're living beings, right? They have life energy. Some things have created a defense mechanism. So for example, that's what like gluten is in wheat, right? It's a defense mechanism for those plants. Or the nightshade vegetables, people are kind of afraid of those. But in general, those are, for most people, very well tolerated and very safe. So unless you have specific conditions where they're not recommended, plants of all sorts, a variety of plants, different colors of plants, different sizes. Plants are what is going to help us live longer. For example, we know that when rice is a whole grain, it is actually preventative of diabetes versus when rice is processed, it actually promotes diabetes. So blueberries, fruit, that's another thing. Berries are amazing. I'm sure that you've talked about it. They're powerhouse fruits. They are full of antioxidants and vitamins and minerals. But most vegetables have this combination of they have a very high water content, most of them, which we need. We don't get enough water, we're dehydrated. And they have a high content of vitamins and minerals that can benefit us. So there's like superfoods and things, and those are vegetables and fruits that have a higher content of vitamins and minerals, but they all are good. So there's not, I can't think of a vegetable that I'm like, ooh, don't eat that one.
Like that one.
If you're struggling with weight, maybe avoid avocado. But even that is like, the fats are good, like it's for the right person, it can be healthy. In excess, a very fatty plant maybe is not desired, but it's probably better than eating an oil, right? Or spraying oil, something that is processed, that has no fiber, that has no packaging from God. So I don't mean to be religious. It's just, but the way that food is already packaged is it has the fiber and the water and the vitamins. That plants are again, we can get everything that we need from them.
Awesome.
Beans are also wonderful.
Legumes are good. Very good. So plants
are wonderful.
From the ground, best for you. Now, you mentioned a few keywords I wanted to highlight. Antioxidants essentially help prevent cancer. That's why the antioxidants, we throw that word out a lot. They help prevent infections and cancer. All right, so Doc, I have some people who are thinking oh man, I have quite a few hiccups to some of the things you're talking about. And I call them hiccups because it's like, Doc, that's a lot. Okay, so number one, Doc, it sounds like bird food. Like you asking me to eat like a bird. I'm not trying to do that. What would you say to that?
So one is changing your mind or changing your concept around bird food versus real healthy food or hearty food. One, the biggest animals on the planet eat plants, like they are elephants and other animals. Their main diet is plants. So it's not that in order to be big and strong, we have to eat other animals. That is not true. There's actually an awesome documentary for people who think that, called Game Changers. It's kind of about athletes and a plant-based diet and how that can sustain you. But I do get that eating more fruits and vegetables, some people think of as bird food, or they think, oh, to be vegan or eat plant-based, I have to eat a salad. It's always just salads. One, culturally, we tend to already have lots of fruits and vegetables in our diet already. So when I'm trying to convince people to eat more fruits and vegetables, I say, well, I want you to think about what your grandparents ate before, they got I don't want to say assimilated, but before they became part of the overall American culture, also before there was lots of money. So before we had lots of money to be able to afford meat and cheese with every meal, we had, we ate greens and okra and beans, and these are the bulk of our meals were
Mhm.
these starches and vegetables. But then with more money, we just started adding more meat. So you culturally, we can eat a lot of foods that we're very familiar with already that we don't think of as bird food. um, and then it's a continuum. So eating more fruits and vegetables is not an end all of, it's not you eat it or you don't eat it. You just want
Mhm.
to add more to what
More.
you're eating. So one, if you don't want to change what you're eating, I would just say add fruits and vegetables, add at least 5 servings of plants a day at least. But if you're trying to convert that, and we know that unfortunately meats can be inflammatory and we want to reduce them. If you're trying to go in that direction, eating more plants, like I said, you can eat what you've already eaten, culturally what we've already eaten, and adding more plants to it. There are the franken foods, the meat alternatives. I don't love them. They generally are not super tasty for me because I like good food. Like you said, I want something that tastes good, and I don't want to fake myself out about it tasting good. But they're good transition foods if you are trying to move in that direction. So if you don't want to eat beef anymore, or hamburgers, there's like the impossible meats, but those aren't super healthy either. So I want to say something about that as well. We want to eat plants in the way that they grow out of the ground. We
Mm.
can also process plants so that they look nothing like what they are. For
Right.
example, Oreos are vegan. They're plant-based, right? They have no animal products in them whatsoever. Does that mean an Oreo is healthy? Absolutely not. We know that something that's packaged, that's black and, that has artificial
Color.
color
Yeah.
and sugar is not healthy. But that's because those plants have been processed. We took sugarcane, a plant that if we ate sugarcane, that's probably pretty healthy. It has fiber, it's hard to chew. We
Right.
couldn't eat that much, but we took sugarcane and made sugar. We took a oil, because Oreos have some oil product, and made that. So when we process plants, then they become something that's not recognizable either.
Right.
So those processed franken foods are not necessarily super healthy either. So again, foods as they come out of the ground, but start with eating stuff you already eat. For breakfast, we already eat oatmeal, right? Instead of putting milk and butter on it, put some berries. This is something that we're already comfortable with, right? We already
Mm.
eat, say, peanut butter sandwiches. Make it a peanut butter and banana sandwich. Peanut butters are peanuts that's ground, and banana is a fruit, right? And a whole grain bread. So eat that for lunch. That's something that we're already used to doing. For dinner, we tend to eat like a meat and a vegetable and a starch. Make the plate half vegetables, right? Just eat the stuff that you're already eating. Just eat more plants of it. Soon, if you keep eating plants, your taste buds will change, and you'll enjoy plants, and so you'll enjoy eating them. But my concept of what meals are changed when I became more plant based, and so I became kind of more satisfied. Where for lunch, instead of having to have, I love Chick-fil-A. It's a problem. It's cracking there. But instead of having to have it, it was like, let me eat some peppers and cucumbers and these vegetables. And over time that was enough, but initially it's hard because the foods are hyper palatable. So keep eating it, it'll change your perspective, and start by eating things you already eat and just switch it and make it healthier. If you're already eating white rice, switch that to brown rice. Now you're eating a whole food, plant, rather than something that's processed.
Awesome, awesome. You gave a lot of gems. You just threw it out there real quick. So more plants. You will say more
More
plants, add
plants.
more plants on there. And the truth is, it's not just a question of having beautiful labs, like, oh, your A1C is down if you're diabetic or your cholesterol is better. You actually feel better. So when my patients come back,
Yes.
they've lost weight, they're eating better, I say, okay, real quick, let's reflect. How do you feel? And they're like, yeah, you're right, doc. I sleep better. I don't feel as draggy. Even my wife's like, oh, wow. I said, I want you to remember that so that for when the next temptation comes, you're able to you remember that and make better decisions about what you put in your body. Okay. So the last
Absolutely.
hiccup I was going to say is this, and this is a big one. Clean eating is work and expensive, doc. I'm happy you keep talking about that. You can maybe do that because you're a doctor, but it's work and it's expensive. What would you say to that hiccup?
I love this question. So there are resources online. There, I think Kaiser has something like eating plant-based diet on a budget. I always bring that up for patients. But when you look at your grocery bill, the biggest portion of that bill is meats and cheeses. Actually, it's not the plants. We think oh, if we go to, because we think, oh, I have to go to Whole Foods and start my life over. And you go to Whole Foods and it's a $200 bill. You can get organic food from Aldi, right? Like we can get plants, and plants are not the bulk of, again, the bill. It is really the meats that are the big thing.
That's true.
Ways to make it cheaper: you can eat canned vegetables. We found that those are just as good. Not canned fruit. Canned fruit has sugar in it or syrup, so I'm not advocating canned fruit. But canned vegetables, they store forever, so once you invest, you just, it's your time to eat it. Frozen fruit and frozen vegetables are just as good. They're actually maybe better because they're frozen at the peak of freshness. So when you thaw them, they're going to still be good. Again, the fresh fruits and vegetables, when you look at that, it's our mind that it has to be expensive, but it really is not.
Really, is it?
Beans, dried beans are pennies, right? When Dave Ramsey, right, he talks about rice and beans, the rice and beans budget, in order to save money, because the money comes from going to fast food, right? Fast food is what's expensive, and that's full of cheese, oil, meats. So eating healthy is not really that expensive. It's the perception of it. But you may have to move from a fast cooking method to a slower cooking method where you prepare the food before, or the alternative to preparing food, because that the other thing I hear is, I don't have time to eat healthy, right? I just gotta
Mm-hmm.
go to the restaurant,
Yeah.
or
Grandma food.
you gotta cook the beans, I gotta cook the food. I can't do that. What I do, because I'm lazy and cheap, i eat I eat fresh fruits and vegetables. So like I said, for lunch I'll have peppers and cucumbers and things I don't have to cook. Also things I can refrigerate, but then I bring it to the office and I just have the raw fruits and vegetables, and I just eat those. So I think it is an inaccuracy that eating healthy is more expensive. Again, the biggest item on your budget is going to be the meat and the cheeses, and you can definitely make it cheaper if you prepare it yourself.
Okay. All right. For those who are watching, thank you for watching. I'm going to say this. Don't run away from the mindset shifts that need to happen to embrace this. Number one, your mind always, whenever there's a contemplation for something to change or something different, then your mind is like, oh,
Yeah.
it's probably expensive.
No.
You're gonna, but now we're breaking it down and saying that no, it's not actually. When you actually look at your receipt, you notice actually more the meats, the foods are not as healthy, that are actually more expensive. And you can eat fresh fruits like without having to cook them. So I have a slice of
Yes.
pineapple, I have a tangerine in my, because I know they're bringing lunch today, and I always bring my buffer, so that way I'm not tempted
Yeah.
to eat what I'm not supposed to, because I know how I feel. You know how you feel when you eat wrong. Um,
Yeah.
and I have a comment here. Thank you so much, Miss Cindy, for joining. She said, great information. Food prep helps so much, and doing it on a Sunday takes some time, but it's ready for the week. So an hour or two, just batch it. Have your little zip
Yep.
lock bags that you just grab and go. Do that for the kids. Do that for yourself as well. We want to make our kids eat healthy. We need to do the same thing as well. The other thing I was going to say is buy the fruit for the week, the fruit veggie that's on sale for the week. That's a way also you can save on bills.
Yeah, that's a great tip.
Man, Doc, this has been
And I
awesome.
think having a buffer,
Mhm.
I think your
No, go
buffer
ahead.
is a great idea, because food is so tempting, right? And so you get to work and there's the cake and the cookies and the treats, and we brought a
Totally.
pizza. Don't you want to try it? And all of that stuff. And we might have the best intentions, but if we don't have our own backup plan, it's going to fall through. So if we get to work hungry, or we get somewhere hungry, we're going to choose the easiest thing that our brain says, that, eat that. That works. So, but if we have the fruit with us, it's like, you know what? I'm going to eat this first, and then I'll see how I feel, you know?
Awesome, awesome, awesome. We're gonna have to do this again. It's already 8 o'clock Central
Yeah,
Time, and there's still a lot to talk about. But
a
people are
lot. I
wondering.
agree. This
People
was
are
so
wondering.
fast.
I know.
Oh my
Like
God.
it's 7:59. So people are wondering,
I know.
where can I get this doc? She's awesome. She's amazing. Where can people find you, doc? Where can people find you?
Great. Thank you. So I'm here on Facebook. So if you guys see me on the live, I think Dr. Tolu tagged me. So I'm on Facebook. I have a Be Better Show on Facebook. I'm active on Instagram. I believe it's Katrice Brooks MD on Instagram. I'm very active on my TikTok, but that's more like skin things. So if you want to know how to eat for your skin and things for your skin, I'm on TikTok is Dr. Katrice Brooks MD, I think. So on my TikTok, Instagram, on YouTube, all the socials. Honestly, if you put in my first last name and MD, Katrice Brooks MD, you can find me on all the socials. If you want to reach out to me directly, my email is hello@katricebrooksmd.com. I welcome any questions you have. And yeah, I'm with Dr. Tolu, so I'll be back. She's wonderful. Thank you for
Awesome,
having me.
awesome. This was awesome. So what I'm going to do at the end of the live, I'm going to post your information on there so people know how to connect with you as a speaker, as a
Perfect.
clinician, and to ask
Thank
questions.
you.
So thank you, thank you, thank you so much for coming. Big shout out to those who
Thank
are
you.
watching. Thank you. That's a wrap. And if you or anyone you know is looking for an awesome, a thorough, and passionate family physician in the Mansfield, Texas area, I am she. Have a good one,
You are.
guys.
You
Bye.
are. Thank you.